Picture this. You just finished watching a show or movie you like, and the piece moved you so much that you feel inspired to make your own work about. Maybe it's fan art, maybe you want to learn to animate so that you can make an AMV of one of the characters, or maybe something else. After hard work, your piece is finally done. It's not the absolute best, but you are pretty content with it, and you proudly post it online. And then you get hit with things like hate comments who probably haven't touched a pencil in decades, random AI bros feeding your art into AI to make parodies of your style, or you see absolutely godly pieces by other people who are literally half a decade younger than you and haven't even hit double digits yet. Maybe you start crying, tearing your work apart, and feeling like you're bad at drawing because of the high standard you put for yourself, while all you wanted to do was draw a silly little character from, well, a show you like. And then you start questioning whether Anonymous123 was right when telling you to never pick up a pencil again. Spoiler alert, they aren't. Hi everyone, I'm Fleavy underscore Anonymous, preferably just V. And the scenario I just told you is something that unfortunately happens to a lot of aspiring artists out there, and also has caused a lot of people to actually abandon art as a whole, mostly due to factors like non constructive criticism, or flat out just hate, as I call it, comparison, perfectionism, etc. The first out of four parts of this video will be about comparison. As a fellow artist, I can't even lie that I've never felt this way about some of my drawings, especially after taking a scroll on social media and seeing other people create full blown masterpieces that look nothing like my goofy little drawings, especially when they are like 8 years old or something. In elementary, I used to share classes with this blonde white guy that was an absolute god at semi realism, after making me doubt my own goofy as Fever Town fan art. Whenever he finished his exercises early and when there wasn't any stupid ass mind numbing buzzy work, this man would be drawing literal Chinese dragons, triumphal arches, and even more. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if he has at least one fully fleshed out, fully shaded drawing of biblically accurate angels. In retrospect, comparing myself to him wasn't really a logical thing to me. I think semi realistic objects were his hyperfixation, while mine was Friday Night Fever frenzy. And trying not to compare yourself to others isn't as easy as it seems, because I still catch myself doing that to this very day. But something I'm most certain about is that the people I compare myself with most likely compare themselves with other people who they think are the ultimate artists. While honestly, I know this is a freestyle part, this is not part of the script, but now I don't think there's like an ultimate artist. Like, we are idolizing like people, but I don't think there's like one good way to be like a good artist. Like, if you love what you're doing and you feel confident in what you're doing, then I think you're like a good artist. So we're basically all envious of each other's skills in this weird little circle is what I'm trying to get at. I don't know. Um, Second point on my list is the hate comments. And when it's not hate comments, it's most likely TikTok art. Oh my god, I hate this. An enemy of aspiring artists. The only thing they do is scan hard make work for the tiniest of imperfections and openly clown you for it, making people search for your accounts like literal hellhounds just to clown you some more and tell you to never pick up a pencil again. But honestly, despite being aware that bullying is not the answer, I feel like they should be the ones to get clowned for not being able to enjoy the sight of people's art without being immature about whether your line art is chicken scratched or not. It is okay to not like every drawing you see, but are you really gonna throw a hissy fit just because someone else's drawing doesn't look exactly like your ideal piece? Are you Caillou's long lost twin? I know that this is way easier said than done, but if you get any hate comment talking about some "you'll never pick up a pencil again," just delete that comment. They are not worth the joy you get out of creating art. For like 2 weeks or something, there was this dude hating in my comments on every shot I posted in the time span, always finding something to call ugly. I am a pretty sensitive person, to be honest, but I just ended up deleting the hate comments because apparently that feature exists, but some of y'all don't seem to know about its existence. But if you're feeling a little bit mean in that very instance, and so happen to be verified, lucky bit, then a pin of shame might also do the job if you get a lot of comments on average. Moving on to the last point, because if I don't stop now, this video might turn into a rant, self-motivational video. Standards, perfectionism, and excessive ambition. We've all experienced that thing where you try to drug something, but it just isn't giving in the slightest. So you redraw the post again and again and again, but it still isn't giving. So you just give up and start asking yourself why you went wrong in life. I'm obviously exaggerating it in what I just described, but it does often happen that an artwork not being exactly how we want it to be can trigger negative emotions about ourselves, as in like our self-worth. And I honestly don't even know why that even is a thing, but it unfortunately is. I had a friend who used to kind of be like this in 4th to 6th grade. We had like a group of artist friends, and we would always sit at the same window each break at noon and draw while we yapped about our hyperfixations. Somewhat unrelated, but this is a group where this group of people were the same guys that got me hooked on shows like Hell of a Boss, Hasbin Hotel, The Amazing Digital Circus, like those kind of things. But back to what I was saying, I had this friend who, for privacy reasons, we are gonna call Agatha. I loved Agatha's doodles, but she would often be too hard on herself, saying that she should never pick up a pencil again, and sometimes even worse things about herself because she didn't get the pose right. You literally just drew the most adorable Roblox noobs. What do you mean you should die? I didn't really know how to comfort her in these type of situations because I was a sheep, I was a not like other girls type person, and I was an asshole simultaneously. And yeah, I was overall just a bad friend to my friends back in elementary. So whenever Agatha would spiral, I just didn't know what to do, and I'd walk away from the scene because I was like uncomfortable. This was in my era where my disorder first showed up, but wasn't that big of a problem yet. So it wasn't my disorder that made me uncomfortable. I was just a dick to her all the time for literally no reason. But anyways, back to the topic of the video. Something I've noticed under artists is that whenever someone talks bad about a sketch but ends up showing it, it's not even that bad of a sketch. In fact, most of the time, the sketch itself is already a whole ass work of art by itself, and the mistake they are going on and on about isn't even that visible. You need a microscope to see what they are talking about. They are literally just being too hard on themselves because of the sky high standards that not only the art quote unquote community puts on them, but also the standards and ambitions they put on themselves, creating some kind of pressure to be better. There's, of course, objectively nothing wrong with wanting to learn anatomy or perspective. I sometimes also like to experiment with anatomy and see how some perspectives would look in my style, but if you're obsessively doing this just to be perfect at it and losing all the joy and whimsy you once used to feel, then that is the recipe for art block or art burnout. We are often our own biggest critics, especially when it comes to things like art. But this also occurs in other fields like the worlds of cooking, baking, building, inventing, and the list goes on. What others may see as a flawless work of art can and most likely will be seen as the most horrible abomination ever made by the person who made it. The best example I can currently think of is the Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh. The same dude who made all these pieces that I will be showing on screen died thinking he was a failure. But in the current day, you can literally buy tote bags, shirts, mugs, and probably even more with his works on them. It literally makes him look crazy because, hello? The same dude that made the Sterrennacht a failure? That doesn't add up for us since we are just the outside perspective. I know that there were most likely also other factors that made Van Gogh think this slowly of his own art, but as I already said, We are our own biggest critics, and some of our inner critics are more like inner demons, honestly. And Vincent was also struggling with his demons, as you can see by his backstory. And now I want to talk about the fourth part of this video, being demotivated to learn. Now, this is mostly something directed at AI bros, but I will probably die on this hill. Learning to draw is not as hard as it seems. All you need is literally just a pencil and a paper. Go grab an IKEA pencil. I'm sure every household has at least 15 of those, and just start drawing. I literally learned drawing by redrawing those overly rendered Get Your Life thumbnails with my classmates. Yes, I was self-shipping myself with classmates to get your lifestyle. I will not elaborate. It was nothing dirty. It was just weird. But in the summer of 23, my Friday Night Funkin' phase started, and that one Big Brother mod and the Fever Town mod I mentioned earlier got me to pick up my dusty ass pencil again. Speaking up about Friday Night Fever, do y'all think the upcoming sequel mod will be peak? I think it will. Caesar leaked like 90% of the game before it even has a fucking release date since the announcement from over 2 years ago. Like, what do you mean Faker Fever gets its own week and you just leave us hanging there? But, anyways, then I started consuming more media, which inspired different parts of the anatomy that I use. The way I draw legs comes from Pantheon Stucking with Gutterbelt. I know, pretty controversial show. The hands were inspired by this artist on the Friday Night Fever crew named Roll Cinnamon. I'll link them down below. The way I draw stuff like fangs or eyes are from Get to Life or Has Been Hotel and or Hell of a Bus. I know, also controversial. So why do all the shows I like have to be controversial, bro? But even without doing all that, you literally have the power of Pinterest on your side. Use it for good and learn from the tutorials and drawing hacks on there instead of pumping the site full of AI character designs. Please, you're starving for real art, little bro. And then I have one message left, and that is live and learn. No, I mean it. It'll help. So that was me rambling about nothing and everything at the same time. Did you enjoy my nonsense? Drop a like. And if you didn't, drop a like as well. And maybe subscribe because I'm trying to grow the incognito again to 200 subs by the end of August. Yes, I just renamed my fellow stargazers into the incognito gang. So stay hydrated, go make something beautiful, and remember, the guy who made the Sterrennacht